The fact that Belza was literally drinking in the exact same way that Kinji was, mad and just distraught about the current predicament that they were in. I think it was like 2 episodes back, maybe even an episode back, but it was fairly recent. I mean, that was just a glorious callback, and just to show like how fast things can change in the world of Dungeon of Black Company. And by the looks of it, Kinji, I mean, he's got Amazon, he's got amusement parks, he's on top of the world. There's nothing that can stop him. And then Ranga drops the information that they are the ancestors, so Belza is the ancestor of Ranga. Therefore, with that revelation and that smirk, it feels like that might be the foil to Kinji's current success. I don't know exactly how that would change anything, but maybe there's like some frowning on like knowing things from the future or something like that. Maybe they'll get him thrown in jail. Who knows? It's Dungeon of Black Company. As much as he may succeed, he'll always fail, but it'll be interesting to see what type of ending they want to leave episode 12 on, because that is the last official episode confirmed. We don't know if they plan on doing a second season or not, so really, do they want to end in a cliffhanger like he falls but tries again? Or is he gonna seemingly succeed with a chance of failure again in the future? Hard to say. I will say, I was not expecting this episode to kick off with even more love interest from just the group really appreciating Kinji. He's someone who will smack you in the face but then apologize right after because he realized maybe he shouldn't have done that. And honestly, it just kind of seemed like, based on what they were doing, I mean, with Sky and everything like that, they were trying to clear the dungeon so Sky would be healthy. Everything was, like, making sense in that predicament, because I was like, oh, this isn't some master manipulation. This is simply, like, he's using workers, encouraging them so that he can save the dungeon, so that Rim's sister will be A-okay. That's all that I was assuming. And when they were building up to this heroic moment, I knew something was gonna happen that would make them consider Kinji scum. I just wasn't expecting that was the plan all along. I mean, to have this power deep inside the dungeon that even Belza herself was after, and he harnesses it and becomes basically a supervillain. He launches monsters to the surface. He pays off his debt and throws his resignation letter on her feet. Apparently in this world, you have to give 6 months notice, not 2 weeks like in a normal business. I have no idea how more people don't kill themselves in this world given the environment, but I mean, leave it to Kinji to just use that power, not to simply destroy the world, because that's not really a part of his plan. His plan's always been to make money. But the idea of what's essentially an amusement park, and how, because in the future, the dungeons, because of how they were handled, they pretty much go off the deep end, but by having a constant flood of adventurers, and the monsters, and the mining, it kind of creates a harmony that not only can you outperform his previous company, you also have this ability to really just shake the world to its core. You can pump out your own materials because you have Wannabe doing some research so they can craft and purify and make perfect material that isn't cheap, but also they can sell it for a real big discount so no one in their right mind would buy from anyone other than themselves. Using the monsters as Amazon Prime delivery, like just watching his plans come together. Had this been episode 12, I would have thought to myself, there's nothing that's going to stop him this episode. But knowing that it was episode 11, there was something in the back of my mind being like, what is going to be his hurdle? It didn't even cross my mind that the character that he screwed over the most could be his foil, given the fact that nothing could seemingly be done about him. But something with that revelation is going to cause some chaos, and honestly, who knows what's going to happen next. I wouldn't even put it past the Dungeon of Black Company to see both Belza and Kinji not be able to succeed and another character takes up the reins, but it's anyone's guess. I just thought the comedy was just so well done this episode. But then again, the comedy's always well done, but there's something special about seeing ideas from our modern world applied to this medieval fantasy-esque world. The biggest strength that this show has going for it has always been its main central character, and how he's the biggest scumbag, but I think lovable scumbag that there's been in quite some time. There's an idea that I think isn't used enough, and that is the idea of pushing away from relatable anime characters and simply going for something that is despicable. And you probably wouldn't want to be friends with a guy like this unless you want to benefit from usually his profits, but when shit hits the fan, you wouldn't want to be beside him whatsoever. But I love the idea that rather than pandering to an audience saying like, we're gonna make him have these relatable quirks, no, he started off ridiculously rich. The most relatable thing for maybe some people in the community might be the idea of wanting to live a life of doing jack shit and never leaving the home. But the idea of him being rich and just an overall asshole, it's nothing that's gonna, pander to that audience, which is Probably why it's not as popular as certain shows in the isekai genre, even from this season, that do exactly that. But to see the numerous ways that this show, honestly, I would say on average, we've probably covered 4 seasons worth of typical isekai anime content. I really feel that. I mean, even him succeeding with his amusement park and Amazon delivery, Prime service, all that type of stuff, that easily could have been like 4 to 6 episodes in most anime if you really wanted to stretch it thin. But the idea that there's constantly new ideas being thrown, I have no idea how long this source material is supposed to be when it's all said and done. I believe it's ongoing, but I really have to hand it to the author. If they can continue making this type of momentum something that continues to be entertaining, you're always going to think he's a scumbag, but you're also going to think he's heartwarming at times, and you're going to get fooled at times, and this and that. But I really have to hand it. This is one of the more creative shows I think I've ever seen in the isekai genre. And don't get me wrong, I mean, this past year or two, I think isekai anime adaptations have been better than usual. Mainly because anime production has been so crazy that they literally have to adapt everything now, rather than picking and choosing, because if they want to keep up with the anime demand, everything has to get adaptations, everything has to get multiple seasons if you want to keep that flow going. So, the idea of this getting an adaptation isn't like, oh man, the isekai genre's changing or this or that. No, it's just like, more good things are finally being adapted. But I have to say, it's nice in a way, because even though it sucks on the animator side, I'm glad that different authors who actually are taking risks are getting their work seen. And I really hope this will be one of those shows that doesn't get a one and done season, because as much as I really see a satisfying way to end next week with like either him trying again sort of open-ended, or this plan kind of works out for him and we leave it off there, there's always more room for failure and success for a boy like Kinji, and I'm really excited to see if someone like, Belza is gonna end up joining the cause, or is gonna be like the foil to him going forward again, but I guess we'll see. I don't know, I mean, I've loved this show. I'm glad there's one more episode. I actually thought this was the last episode, because every show that I'm covering on Fridays are ending today besides Dungeon, so I was just assuming that this was episode 12 as well. So really happy that we have one more. I mean, I'd be jumping for joy if this immediately got a confirmation for a next year for season 2. I mean, I could easily see something like that happening, but really we just gotta cross our fingers, hope for the best, and seriously, I am excited. I really am. I mean, as much as I love seeing this man succeed, I also love seeing him fail just as much, because the comedy on both spectrums is just as incredible. But let me know your thoughts. I mean, what did you see coming and what didn't you see coming in this episode? The amusement park was definitely like a shocker, but I'm like, that's in the realm of possibilities. When I saw that Prime delivery service, that's when I was like, I didn't see that coming, but I should have, but that's just me. Thoughts and feelings down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.